Is the bear market back on as Bitcoin is in free fall mode right now? Fear and tensions are very, very high. And we're going to be answering the question, is this a healthy pullback in an uptrend? Or is this a major dump? So make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click that bell for notifications because we are bringing you the most timely updates here on YouTube. Now, whenever Bitcoin is getting a big move to the upside or to the downside, the best thing we can do as traders, as investors, is zoom out, look at a higher term time frame, and understand the market structure. Where are the zones where the price is likely to find support or resistance? And as we can see right here, this is the weekly chart, and it really simplifies things. And we could get some very important information from this chart. First of all, we could see on the weekly time frame, one of the reasons why we are rejecting from this zone is because we came up to the white box, which is a very, very important support resistance flip, right? We could see that this was our support back here in the month of May. It was our resistance right here back in the month of August. And now, of course, in February, we are coming up to this resistance again, and that is why we are getting a pullback from this area. It is very much so expected, which is why we gave the short setup over in the Casper Crew VIP Discord in advance, right? We were ready and waiting for this very key zone of resistance. We were looking to short this zone, and of course, this is where we are getting our pullback from. So now what we need to do as we are getting a move to the downside is instead of looking for those zones of resistance, we need to be looking for those zones of support. And by the way, if you want to join the Casper Crew VIP Discord, where we give the trade setups in advance, we do 3 live streams a day. You can go to patreon.com/Jason Casper to join the community. So when we look at this chart, it actually becomes very, very simple to see where the key zones are along the way down. What we're going to do is we are going to take a horizontal ray, and we're just going to look for places where historically the price of Bitcoin has found a sticking point. And we can see right here on the weekly time frame that we have a very, very important zone of resistance that was respected to the dollar once, to the dollar twice, and now we are actually coming back down into that zone. So this right now is establishing for us a major zone where potentially we need to be looking for support. Now, if we take our Fibonacci golden pocket from the low to the high, let me adjust this so that it is correct. We can also see that not only is this a clear support resistance flip on the weekly time frame, but we can also see that the Fibonacci golden pocket is lining up exactly with that level. Very, very significant. So this is the first major zone, I would say, between 21K and 21.8, where it's very possible we could find support. And we're going to be talking about how we can actually get into an entry or find a buy at support, because it's not something we just do automatically. We need to get some kind of a trigger. But for right now, we just need to identify these zones. Now, the second zone we need to be aware of, in my opinion, is the very clear support resistance flip coming back to the 18,375 level. We can see that this also is a very, very important support resistance flip going all the way back again to the month of June, where we could see that this level was acting as support in June, in July, it was acting as support in September, in October, and then in December, it actually acted as resistance. And many, many times, you guys will notice on the chart, this is why it's so useful to zoom out to a higher term time frame, that if we form a high like this, and it's a clear level of resistance, and then the Bitcoin price just breaks out without even coming back to retest, it's very, very probable when we come back to this level, we will get some kind of a bounce from it. This can be seen very, very clearly back here in the month of August. Look at what happened in May. We put in this wick on the weekly time frame. Price broke down without coming back to retest, and when price did come back for the retest, we literally, to the exact dollar, got a reaction, a rejection from this key support resistance flip. So when we zoom out on the weekly time frame, it takes out a lot of the noise, and we can just kind of sit back and say, okay, where are these key zones where we can be looking for support and resistance? Now, something else that's very, very interesting about this zone down here at 18,375 is if we take our Fibonacci golden pocket retracement from the low to the high, we can see that it's also, let me put on the 6.5 level so that we can see the Fibonacci golden pocket. We can see that also, guys, the, I actually have to put on the 0.65 right there. Boom. We see our golden pocket is literally right on that exact support resistance flip. So in my opinion, these are two of the major zones of support that we need to be aware of for this pullback. Keep in mind, on the weekly time frame, once we lose this zone of support right here, it's going to be a very, very fast move back down. The reason why is because it was a fast move down right here. It was a fast move up right here, and that creates a gap in volume. And when there's a gap in volume, it means price tends to go through that area very, very quick. If we had, let's say, formed some kind of a sideways range here for a while, then it would be acting more as a level of support on the way down or resistance on the way up. But because we fell right through and then came right back up, we do need to be aware that losing this zone could very much so give us a fast move down to this 18.3 zone right here where we have very major support resistance flip. Now, one more area that we do need to be aware of, I'm going to come to the daily time frame right here. I'm actually going to remove all my drawing tools. Is this, okay? There is a lot of liquidity and a lot of stop losses now below this zone right here, around 20K. If we come and dip just below this level here, we could pretty much just stop out everybody who's been long from this zone, which would inject a lot of liquidity in the market to get a move back to the upside. And again, I'm going to be talking about how we are going to be looking for moves to the upside. But this is very important. We need to understand how to come to a chart, how to make a plan, because right now we've just identified three major areas where we could be looking for a serious bounce, which could potentially get us into a very nice swing long trade. Now, when we go to the weekly time frame again, we see something else that is very, very significant here, which is on the weekly time frame, we are in bullish market structure. Low, high, low, high. We've been making higher lows and higher highs. And what that means, guys, is, as long as we don't put in a lower low here, we are still maintaining bullish market structure. So even if we do get our retest all the way down here at $18,300, that is still bullish market structure. And I am still leaning bullish on the long term, although I am obviously holding this short trade. The reason I am bullish on the long term is because of the market structure flip. Now, we're going to be taking a look at a higher term time frame to determine, can we still expect higher prices? Now, by the way, guys, if you do want to join the Casper Crew VIP Discord, patreon.com/Jason Casper. If you want to take advantage of 0% limit fees on ByBit, link in the description. This is great if you want to be taking advantage of those lower term time frame moves without having to pay limit fees. Also, if you want to learn how to trade this way, where you have a plan, for example, we longed 16.3, gave the setup in advance, shorted 24K, gave the setup in advance, because that's how we trade. We make a plan, we know what we're looking for, we know what trigger to get us in, to get us out, etc. 20% discount on the course right now. This is changing the way thousands of people trade. You can check out the testimonials. This will give you that system that you are looking for to basically systematize your trading and do it in a way that is profitable over time. Also, guys, 14-day free trial right now on the trading bot, the ultimate crypto trading bot. If you use this coupon code, this bot will trade for you, okay? You can give it your plans. It will trade for you. Check it out, 14-day trial for free. I want to come and take a look at the monthly time frame right here. Okay, this is the weekly time frame. Let's take a look at the monthly time frame, because I think this will give us some perspective as to where we are right now in the macro market cycle. Now, I'm not saying that the bottom is in, but all I am saying, guys, is that we are indeed printing a macro bottom signal on the monthly time frame right now. Green dot, market Cipher B below the zero line, hidden bullish divergence. Historically speaking, when we print this, the bottom has been in. Okay, so people right now are loving to get overly bearish. Again, fear is running very high right now. We need to remain objective. Until we are losing key supports, we cannot get overly bearish. And if we're looking at this from a long-term hodl or investor point of view, these signals to me are telling me now is the time to accumulate Bitcoin and altcoins. And I know that even if we come lower, which is likely, right? We put in a bottom and then we put in a double bottom back here in the last bear market. And again, back in 2015, we put in our bottom, we put in our double bottom. So even if we're going to be getting a move to the downside, I look at this as an opportunity to accumulate on spot. And indeed, I do have a lot of dry powder on the sidelines to accumulate on spot. So what is going to get us into a trade? How are we going to know whether or not we can be looking for a position to get long on Bitcoin, let's just say? Well, what we want to do, there's a few ways to do it. The first way is basically wait for some kind of sign of strength on the chart. What is a sign of strength? A sign of strength is when the price can actually now reclaim key zones of support or resistance. So right now we know that 22.3 is a very, very key zone of support, right? We were longing this in the Casper Crew VIP Discord for the past 2 weeks here. Now that we have lost this level, if we now get a reclaim and then a retest with some kind of bullish divergence, this is actually a sign of strength where now we can look for a long trade right up here after getting a reclaim of the level. This is actually a very relaxed way of looking for a position because we don't really have to worry about catching a falling knife. We can wait for the trend to say, okay, we are looking to reclaim major resistance. We're getting a retest now, reclaiming, proving that what used to be the ceiling is now back to being the floor, and then we can look for a long trade right here. And again, what we want to be looking for when this happens to give us the confirmation of the trend reversal is we want to be looking for that nice uneven butt cheek pattern on market Cipher B, where we have the left momentum wave very, very deep and that right momentum wave very, very shallow. So let's take a look at market Cipher B. What we would want to see is something like this. As the price is coming down to make this low, we want to see our oscillator, especially if we go to a lower term time frame, be doing something like this, right? We want to see, let's say that we get a move to the upside, and then we get a move down like this. And then as we put in that low, we want to see the oscillator getting higher as the price is getting lower into that low. This is one way to be looking for an entry right here on these higher term timeframes, right? That way we are not catching a falling knife. Another way to look for an entry is if you are trading on lower term timeframes, you can always be looking for entries everywhere on lower term timeframes if you are a scalp trader or a day trader, because the price of every asset is always going to be ranging sideways. As we can see right up here, we had a pretty clearly defined high and a pretty clearly defined low, which gave us longs and shorts throughout the entirety of this little range here. And on any time frame, you can see that we do have ranges forming. For example, right here, we do have a pretty clear range right now. Of course, this is like very low time frame, but if you see that Bitcoin is holding support, let's say that we do hold support right here for quite some time, because again, this is a zone of support. What we can do is we can say, look, we're holding support. Let's say we see some more bullish signs coming to the market. We could simply just say, okay, I'm going to look for a long entry at the low of a sideways range. Very, very low risk setup, because if we're trading on these lower term timeframes, let's say we're looking for a long from the low, we only need to be risking with our trade setup right here. We only need to be risking very, very small amount. This is just an example. I'm not saying to do this. We would only need to risk about 0.3%. And then, of course, our support resistance flip right here, we're risking 0.3% to potentially make 3% right here. This is a 7 times more reward than risk trade setup. So there are different ways to approach this, guys, but whatever the case, make sure you always have a plan in advance no matter what you are doing here. Don't just take a trade or enter into a position out of emotion. Everything needs to be calculated. That is it for today's video, guys. May God bless you all in the name of Jesus, the Messiah. I do pray everybody is very, very blessed. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.